Welcome to the Speak of the Devils Untimed Down, our Friday morning show where we kind of talk about all the things that have happened since our normal Tuesday recording. And wow, Ralph, first off, thanks for stepping in today to join me on the Untimed Down. But man, this morning brought even the latest hit on a very season long pummeling that the injury bug has been placing on these Sun Devils.
You are correct. And it's like that sometimes. I mean, if you've been a college football fan for any length of time, this is how it goes. Um, and you have a quarterback who likes to make things happen with his feet, who doesn't like to give up on plays, who puts himself at risk, who got himself injured doing that exact thing last year. And this is what you're going to deal with sometimes. The players nowadays, bigger, stronger, faster. The turnaround times for these games are inconsistent. The travel is crazy. And one thing, if you're new to ASU football, if you caught the bug because of the Big 12 championship run last year, one hallmark of the Pac 12 that we talked about all the time is 11 of those 12 quarterbacks were missing games every single year. It was very important to have depth. It's a little harder to have depth in the NIL era, but this is part of it. This is why you go out and you get an experienced quarterback who has maybe started elsewhere to be your backup. And we've seen colleges all over the country do just that. Michigan has a senior backing up a true freshman and might need him at some point. Arch Manning has somebody who is on his fourth team in his fifth year of college football backing him up at Texas. And so Arizona State turns to Jeff Sims to hope to salvage the season.
So earlier on Friday morning, Kenny Dillingham, on his weekly appearance on the Bickley and Murata show, made mention that Sam Leavitt, who had already been previously ruled out for this game against Iowa State, would be undergoing season-ending surgery on an injury that had really been hampering him all season. I believe Kenny's mentioned a few times that happened in the Baylor game. He's battled through it, missed some time, of course, missed the Utah game. But at this point, they've decided to make the decision to kind of end the season, undergo the surgery to hopefully correct that issue and get him fully healthy for the future. And as you mentioned, Ralph, Jeff Sims now gets the call, and he'll be the guy going the rest of the way with true freshman Cam Dyer now the backup. Now on our full episode, which I encourage you folks to really go back and listen to, as Joe and I break down the Houston loss as well as look ahead. Cam Dyer is now going to be the QB2. Interview with him as well. How do you feel that, now that the reins are fully and completely in Jeff Sims' hands the rest of the way, how this team can persevere? Because of course Jordan Tyson is doubtful for this Iowa State game. We might not see him the rest of the way. We'll just see how that hamstring injury is coming along. But how do you see the Sun Devil offense, maybe changing, having to adapt with Jeff Sims at the helm?
Stylistically, not a lot has to change. And I know that people are going to say, like, well, look what Sam Leavitt has accomplished, and look at what, Jeff Sims has been relegated to being this backup at Arizona State. The truth is, you have a mobile quarterback to back up a mobile quarterback. It's not like Sam Leavitt was doing a lot of damage from the pocket. Some of these plays where you move the pocket, where you roll Jeff Sims out, that's going to probably continue to be the offense. You might see a few more designed runs, but it's also not like Jeff Sims, who is a very, very good athlete, is out here really breaking long runs. He can get you 5 or 6 to get you to a 2nd and 4 situation. Where you really need to worry is in an area where you weren't getting much from Sam Leavitt this year anyway, is on these short routes, these short passes. Jeff Sims really telegraphs where he's going with the ball and makes it easy for defensive backs who are giving cushion to jump on some of these routes. But Jeff Sims has had a long college career, and he has had some success. The most ironic thing about this is Jeff Sims' debut for Georgia Tech back in 2020, 5 years ago, actually came against Kenny Dillingham, who was the offensive coordinator for Florida State at the time. Jeff Sims' debut, he went 23 of 34 for 277 yards and a touchdown in a win over Florida State. And he's had some other games in his career where he has been able to produce big numbers. The problem is a lot of those have come in losses. A lot of those have involved multiple turnovers. And so you don't want to be in a situation where you're behind. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manufacture offense. The nice thing about Jeff Sims' time at Arizona State is we had heard all about all of these turnover issues, and so far in his uh, times where he has come in relief of Sam Leavitt and in his spot start, he is yet to throw an interception. I don't believe he's lost a fumble. I could be wrong about that, but the turnover issues aren't necessarily there that a lot of people were worried about when Jeff Sims was brought in to be the backup. The issue is the explosive plays haven't been there either. That's not a good trade off. You take an interception here and there for the ability to, hit a 60-yard touchdown pass or break a 50-yard run.
All right, so I think in the wake of this, seismic injury news, and with got key pieces like Ben Coleman already out for the year, Xavier Alford already, having missed basically the entire season from the Mississippi State game forward. His status, I know I've chatted with him. He was hoping to get back so far this season, but so many other key injuries here. This maybe isn't the number of injuries that we've saw in 2023, but certainly maybe perhaps deeper cuts with some of these key guys. Do you feel that this year knowing that your starting quarterbacks could basically going to have missed 5.5 games and some of those other injuries? Do you think that this year is still able to be considered a success in some way, shape, or form? I know the expectations were massive coming into this year. I thought ASU would go 10-2, but obviously all these injury issues have kind of changed that arithmetic as we've gone. Do you think that there's a possibility that ASU fans kind of maybe with an asterisk with the injury can look back on 2025 and say, okay, good things happened?
Yeah, you still have so many opportunities to find out a lot about what you have on this team. When things like this happen, success goes from being large to small. You focus on the little things, even down to the microcosm of just hit the guy in front of you from play to play. There's still a lot about this Arizona State team that needs developed and needs to be put on display. Developing an interior run game. If you're not going to be able to throw the ball, you might as well hit the guy in front of you. We have Kyle Murphy on Sun Devil Spaces. Every other Wednesday he's on there. We talk about the fact that you develop confidence in these young offensive linemen by running the ball. Arizona State has the opportunity to go out and establish some confidence in the offensive linemen that are going to be here next year that they're trying to develop. They've had so many players play so many reps on defense that you just continue to develop confidence in those players and in that system and comfort with, knowing that Brian Ward's going to have you in the right place. This is still a team that plays with a lot of pride. I don't think Kenny Dillingham's issue by any stretch of the imagination is motivation. And every coach is going to have to go through a season like this. It's just unfortunate that for Kenny Dillingham, your senior leader offensive lineman goes down. The safety that you fought for to get eligible goes down. The quarterback that you've developed a bond with goes down. Your mentor has to step away for health reasons. This is a very important season for Kenny Dillingham in how he develops as a man and a motivator and a coach. Every single thing that happens this year that is a point of adversity is going to filter back into what Arizona State does from this point on. So, the success might be 2-3 years away. If Kenny Dillingham ends up being the Frank Kush type who is here for a coaching career, years like this are extremely, extremely important. You can get to that 6th win and you can get a bowl game. The lessons from a year like this are going to carry you for a really long time.
And of course, the remaining schedule after the trip to Iowa State is pretty favorable. They'll have a bye week, then host West Virginia, go to a Colorado team that's really trying to find its way, and then the Territorial Cup at home. So definitely a lot to play for still. You mentioned it there on the last kind of injury point or a personnel point that had really kind of dominated the news this week. And the injuries aren't limited just to players. Of course, Charlie Regal stepping away with a medical leave of absence. Jack Nudo is stepping in his place as the interim special teams coordinator. Now, at this point, this deep into the season, and the severity of these special teams issues that we've seen week in, week out, it might be a bit much to ask for, a complete overhaul. But how are you seeing kind of first off, the potential change and impact on ASU special teams?
I think that, this is a team that was pressing. People can bring up the idea that they think that these are coaching issues. a lot of what you do as specialists, and you've covered ASU practice. A lot of these specialists are just kind of off on their own and have been for years. It's always been that way. If you're a long snapper, you developed the trait that was going to make you a good long snapper outside of your time at Arizona State. Same if you're a kicker, same if you're a punter. Some of the issues on kick coverage, on punt coverage, some are related to injury, some are related to inexperience. But the fact that they all convalesced at the exact same time, fans are naturally going to blame somebody for that. But you never really know if you have addition by subtraction. Some of these things, it's natural, it's human to want to try to find a theme with all of it. The truth of the matter is, it could just be a bunch of non-related things all coalescing at the exact same time. If one of the issues is that it is just in their head that they continue to mess up, perhaps this provides a psychological edge in that you're getting a fresh start. But you're still breaking in a new punt returner. You still have a kicker with an injured quad. You still are having issues with the snap creating some timing issues with your kicker. And so, the fact that Kenny Dillingham has had to spend time as a head coach over with this one area could mean that things are falling apart on other areas. Every time you go to put out a fire, you see somebody over in the corner rubbing two sticks together. It can get very difficult. So these things snowball. And, if we see an immediate rapid improvement, could that be health related? Sure. Could that be experience related for your punt returner? Sure. Could that be a matter of just things that got corrected in the middle of the season? Sure. But, if people want to go ahead and blame Charlie Ragle for how things are going on that end, that's something I feel like he probably internalized. He wants this team to succeed. He was just as invested in this team succeeding from a very young age as Kenny Dillingham was from a very young age. They shared the same dream. They both want Arizona State to be great. And so much so that Charlie Ragle's health is tied up in all this. So I wish him the best. I don't think he has any desire other than for Arizona State special teams to improve. I hope that Jack Nudo is the guy, and I hope that Arizona State fans are mature enough to realize Charlie Ragle is the guy who brought Jack Nudo in. So if there is some success there, whether it be with Kenny Dillingham, whether it be with Jack Nudo, I hope that Charlie Ragle's time with Arizona State is memorialized properly outside of just the performance of the special teams.
So we'll cap this episode with a discussion with Jack Nudo. He met with us in the media after Wednesday's practice. But before that, Ralph, now on the Untimed Down, gives us a chance now with the new information to revisit our score predictions we made on the main show, which of course everybody should listen to anywhere you get your podcasts and here on YouTube as well. I had 24-19 Iowa State, and kind of in light of all this injury, I mean, we knew Sam Leavitt was out, but with Jordan Tyson doubtful and kind of everything, I'm sticking with it. I'm going to say 24-19 Iowa State. How about you, Ralph? Let's Ralph Stradamus think is going to happen on Saturday afternoon.
I think this is probably going to be an Iowa State win, but don't be surprised if Arizona State puts up its highest point total versus any Power 4 team this year, because
all right,
Iowa State is dealing with a lot of the same issues that Arizona State is. Iowa State beat the living snot out of University of Arizona. It's kind of like breaking your fist on somebody's forehead, punching them so hard, because they had 12 different players go down, including both starting corners who are NFL caliber. I mean, imagine losing two Keith Abneys. That's what Iowa State is dealing with in its secondary, on its defensive line, on its offensive line. They got beat up, beating somebody else up. So Iowa State's certainly not going to feel sorry for Arizona State. They're in the exact same boat. Injury issues kind of washing away their ability to be a repeat participant in the Big 12 championship. But because of those issues, they've been giving up a lot of points, a lot of yards. They played really, really well against BYU and still gave up 41 and lost that game. And so, you might see a little bit of a cure for what ails Arizona State on the offensive end. But at the same time, I think that Rocco Becht is an excellent player. Carson Hansen is very good. Revenge on their mind for sure. This game is in Ames. If Arizona State's able to pull it out, I'll be extremely impressed. It'll be up there with Kenny Dillingham's job of coaching against UCLA back in 2023. So I kind of like Iowa State in this game, but I'm going to put ASU over 30. So I'm going to go 36-31 Iowa State.
Well, all right. Well, you have a pretty decent track record historically of picking some games, so we'll see how things play out. Before we get to the talk with Jack Nudo, Ralph, how can folks keep up with all the great stuff you're doing?
I am hosting Sun Devil Spaces every single Wednesday night, and we've had some counseling sessions, post mortem counseling sessions on Saturdays as well. But if you are on X, come in, share. It's a place where you can participate, where you can make your voice known, where you can hang out with other Sun Devil fans, and be given a platform to share all your thoughts and let it all out. We do that every Wednesday and most Saturdays on X, and if you still call it Twitter, that's cool with me.
In fact, not only just call it Twitter. I have I was doing that thing on the iPhones you can do. I still have the bird icon because I refuse to get that ugly X logo on my phone as well. And so maybe I'll try to jump on that post game X from the press box. I'm heading out to Ames here in a couple hours, so it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what Jack Trice Stadium has to offer, and it should be a good atmosphere and a good test for the resiliency of this Sun Devil unit. So as we close out here on the Untimed Down, here's that conversation with new ASU special teams coordinator Jack Nudo.
You've had asking you questions before.
Austin P probably won. Yeah, so this is great. Yeah, no, this is awesome. Fire away.
Coach, when you got the notice first about Charlie's health, what was your first reaction to that news, and did you know you were going to be the first guy up to be potentially in the position right now?
Yeah, so actually, Coach Dilly really was the first person to tell me when it happened, and he immediately told me that, hey, I was going to take over for special teams. But my immediate reaction was just, obviously sadness and shock. I've known Coach Regal since I was a kid. I almost went to Chaparral because of Coach Regal, although I tell him I didn't go because of him. But known him for a long time, and he's a great man that loves this place and, more importantly, loves his players. Obviously, just for him to get right is going to be the most important thing. And he's a family man. He talks about his kids all the time, his wife. So for him just to be there for his family is going to be the most important thing for him. And obviously I was sad. Not the way I wanted to get this role by any means, but it's not about me. It's about these players and getting these guys in the best position to be successful.
Jack, how much did growing up in a football family help you?
A lot. The funny thing, my dad's out here every Tuesday and Wednesday. He never pushed me to play football, to coach football. He's supportive in anything that I did. I was in the band, he would have loved it. But obviously being around that my whole life, that's what made me fall in love with it. And I think he is the ultimate relationship builder, more so than the X's and O's. His ability to create relationships at every level that he's coached has influenced me to do this. And for me, it's always been about the players and always will be.
What was the players' reaction to Charlie having to leave and then you coming in?
I know the players, they took it tough. They love Coach Regal. So for that to happen, he's more than just a special teams coach here. I think we all know that. And so the reaction was tough for them to deal with it, but I do believe that they trust me to be able to lead them. So that's what I'm going to do and get them in the best position possible.
Kenny talked about how Regal's energy is irreplaceable, but he trusts you to lead in your own way. What's the way that you want to be as a leader here?
I'm going to be me. I'm going to be myself. I'm a high energy guy as well. But I'm always going to be myself. I'm not going to try and be Coach Regal because nobody can do that other than Coach Regal. So you'll see me on the field running around, giving good energy, good passion, and just being detailed with my work, making sure that the guys know what they're doing every single play.
What do you think you're focusing on correcting right now with the special teams group?
Yeah, so we have a talented special teams group. I know we haven't performed to the ability that we can. We're not going to be able to make just a million different changes with the specialists right now. So focusing on one thing at a time, every single practice having one thing, whether, all right, Canyon, we're focused on our drop today, or we're focusing on shortening our steps today, whatever that might be, have one focus every single day. That way you're not trying to change a bunch of things at one time, because you're not going to perform well if that's the case.
How has your previous experience as a special teams coordinator kind of made for a smooth transition and even giving you confidence stepping into this?
Obviously, I understood what it took because I've been able to do it at a few places. Obviously, last year I was at Austin P, and it was a great experience. And prior to that, I was at UCLA working on special teams and really helping run it as well. The year before that, I was at ECU. I've been a lot of places recently. That's kind of just the life of a young coach, but a lot of good experiences in running it in different ways as well.
What's the best piece of advice you've probably gotten from either maybe Coach Regal via text or just people within the staff to not only just maybe while taking up the position, at least for right now, but to be able to, like you said, do it in your own way?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Coach Regal, and he told me I'm ready for it, and he trusts me, and he told Kenny that I'm the right guy for the job. Which, I mean, to have his confidence in me, that meant the world. And coaches have came up to me and told me that they believe in me. Coach Sagas pulled me in the kitchen and was like, hey, when Kenny told me that you were running it, like I was like, hell yeah, Nudo can do it. So just having their confidence in me means a lot, and just obviously being me is going to be the biggest deal.
You said you've been to a lot of places, but what did it mean when Kenny reached out and you get to come back home?
It meant the world to be able to get home. This is my dream job. To be at ASU is the dream, and my family's all here. My fiance's here, and so to be able to be home and experience this, it's been the world. And when I got that call, man, I was actually in a high school recruiting and had to step out, and I yelled in the hallway. But it was good. It was awesome.
Thanks, Coach.